Welcome back, everybody, and Happy New Year. We hope you had a fantastic time with your families celebrating Jesus' birth and the new year.
Yes.
We are back with some fun content, crazy content.
Yep. It's not really fun. It's not going to be fun, but it's going to probably be something. I mean, this particular one, it's going to be very informative. I don't think, like I said in the Facebook post, if you've heard of this, I'll be really surprised. But it is definitely something that blew my mind, and it's something that we all need to know is happening. And I probably have an experience in my history that makes me connect more with this, which we'll talk about.
All right, so we'll jump into this video. Get out of your way here. And this is from Inspector Dave on YouTube.
Processing plant in Lemoore is closing after operating for more than a century.
Hundreds of people will be laid off, but the company gave them more than a year's notice before they close in the hopes they can find other jobs.
Leprino Foods saw this disaster coming. In January 2025, the world's largest mozzarella producer opened a massive $1 billion facility in Lubbock, Texas. In November 2024, they announced they were shutting down their 100.
Okay, so I wanted to pause so that you could hear. This is the world's largest mozzarella processing plant, and it is over a century old, and it is based in California. So last year, they opened a $1 billion plant in Lubbock, Texas, and they've just announced to the people in California, oh, whoopsie daisy, we're closing this plant now. Everything will be in Texas.
And are they going to tell us why?
Yes.
15-year-old California plant after more than a century in Lemoore. The company said closure was due to high operating costs, but former employee Dave Costa called it devastating. Now we are staring at 368 lost jobs, a crippled local economy, and California pizza chains importing cheese from Texas instead of getting it 30 miles from Fresno. When the world's largest mozzarella maker abandons ship after 115 years,
It's the world's largest?
Worlds. That's why I said pause. Worlds. We're talking about a company that has been building itself up for a century and says we no longer can operate in the state of California. Why should we care about this? Because California, I don't know if you even know this, California is the fourth largest economy in the world. That is to include countries.
Makes sense.
So California has its own GDP is the fourth largest in the world. So when you've got a century-old world's largest plant saying bye, and they did it in a sneaky way.
They always do.
They built in Lubbock, and when that was up and running, now this goes. Now my experience I told you about, what do you think that experience is in? Meyer Milk Transport?
Ah, yes.
44 years?
Yep.
So if you are the world's, it was 44 years 1944 was when Grandpa started Meyer Milk Transport. Yep. So if you're the world's largest mozzarella plant, can you imagine how much milk needs to come in? And you'll see
much milk.
You'll see the lineups of the trucks going in. We would the mozzarella plant that we would haul milk to was in Pollock, South Dakota. So all of the farms around here back in the day when we were hauling and bringing that cheese down to bringing that milk down to Pollock, South Dakota for their mozzarella. So what's going to happen to
end up dumping milk?
Exactly.
Because there's nowhere to go with it now.
The cows have to be milked daily. They can't not be milked.
Correct.
Because of their bags. So you have a plant that large, that means that you've got cows that are supplying the milk and have for a century.
So what are they going to do? Just send them to market and go out of business?
They don't even tell us, they don't even speculate on that, because I think they just hear, I think they said one little bit about the cows, but for me it's like, do you know how many farmers this is going to affect?
Big time.
They look at it as what's going to happen to the fast food industry in California that has to now ship in
That's the least
cheese.
of their worries.
That's the least of their worries.
You have farms full of cows that have milk that has
Dairy
nowhere to go.
farms that have been, if this is a century old, that means that we've got generations of dairy farmers there. The milk that we picked up, they were generations of milk farmers. When we would go to those dairy farms, they were generations. Nobody just starts that up. It's the
Especially
next generation and the next generation. So this is going to send a ripple throughout the whole economy over there. And that's why this is important. And nobody is talking about it.
Can operating costs really be that high?
Oh my goodness.
When you're the biggest in the world,
but
your profit's not high enough?
But do you know why? Because of the
regulations,
the regulatory and the
Makes
taxing
sense.
That's happening.
They're regulating them out of
Newsom,
existence.
They're regulating them out of existence. They're taxing them out of existence. So when you have somebody that's the world's largest in your state, and
you bankrupt them,
they have to go before they're bankrupt. So they say,
well,
okay.
That's what I'm saying, is that they have no choice but to either go bankrupt or be out of there.
Because Texas, a few years ago, when everybody started moving from California to Texas because of everything happening in California, that was when their governor said, you know what? If you want to relocate here to Texas, we welcome your business here, and we're going to say no taxes for 5 years. So now you're going to either stay in California and you have to build a new plant and it's going to suck, which is what you're going to hear, or you're going to spend $1 billion on a new plant in a different state.
Adios, California. California is really what it's doing, is making itself a ghost state.
But you need to realize, as goes California, so goes the nation. So when miners brought canaries into the coal mines, it was so that if the canary died,
they knew the
miners got out. This is California. That's the canary in the coal mine. Pay close attention.
I don't know, man. There's so much that we can't do about California.
Should have been the warning. Leprino Foods supplies cheese for Domino's, Pizza Hut, and Papa John's. They produce over 1 billion pounds of mozzarella annually. The Lemoore plant has operated since 1910, employing generations of families. CEO Mike Durkin said in 2021 that the Texas facility would bring people, processes, and technology together at a state-of-the-art plant.
Lineup of the trucks.
He made no mention of closing California. By 2024, the truth came out. Think about what that means. Leprino Foods, a privately held company that manufactures more mozzarella than anyone on earth, decided building a $1 billion facility from scratch in Texas was cheaper than keeping their century-old California plant running. These are not minimum wage workers losing jobs. These are 368 employees at the highest paying factory job in the Central Valley.
Wow.
Dave Costa worked there for 35 years. His father hauled milk cans to the plant in the 1950s. His son-in-law works at the company's other Lemoore facility.
All family.
3 generations gone. The company had 2 facilities in Lemoore, East and West. Combined, they process 14 million pounds of milk daily and produce 1.5 million pounds of mozzarella and related products every day. The East plant, which opened in 1910, became Leprino's in the 1980s. Now it closes permanently while the West plant continues operating. For now. Leprino's exit was the...
So if I can remember right, when we would bring a tanker down, we were between 45 and 50,000 pounds. 1 gallon of milk weighs 8.6 pounds. It weighs 0.6 pounds more than water. So 1 tanker, 45,000 pounds. They were processing over 1 million pounds a day?
No, 14 million.
14 million a day. 14 million a day when 1 tanker is 45,000. Do you know how many tankers of milk?
A lot.
That's
a lot.
So how many cows did it take to make that milk?
It depends on how many gallons a cow makes.
Oh boy. Well, how big the herds are, all of it. But this is Central Valley.
Everything.
Yep, this is Central Valley. Central Valley is crops, farming.
Yep.
So I want to follow up on this. I haven't done more research to see now what, because this is going to devastate the Central Valley dairy farming. It's decimated now. It's decimated now. What are they going to do? Does anybody care? Does anybody care?
Hope that they can find another place that'll take their milk close enough.
Okay, we can continue.
What else do you do? I mean,
it just kills me
you have
because
to try to find other sources.
It kills
that'll
me
take
because
it.
there's families and animals involved, and that just kills me, especially farm. Just kills me.
Canary in the coal mine. They knew what was coming. The entire California food manufacturing sector is collapsing. The state that produces more food than anywhere else in America is watching its processing capacity evaporate. Within months of Leprino's announcement, Anheuser-Busch declared they were closing their Fairfield brewery in February 2026. Blue Diamond Growers is dismantling their 110-year-old Sacramento almond facility. Ruiz Foods moved their corporate headquarters from Tulare County to Frisco, Texas in 2023. Food processors are fleeing California at record rates. Industry analysts project food prices could spike 10 to 15% when major facilities close. Leprino produced mozzarella for every major pizza chain in America from their California facilities. That production shifts to Texas, but transportation costs, supply chain disruptions, and increased demand on remaining facilities will drive prices higher. One expert said consumers could see $1 to $2 per pizza increases within months. Here is what makes this catastrophic. Lemoore built its economy around dairy processing. The city lost a tomato plant and a grain mill in recent years. Now the dairy plant shuts down. Mayor Patricia Matthews called the announcement a shock that nobody expected. The city has no backup plan. When anchor tenants leave, cities enter death spirals. Tax revenue collapses.
So they've lost their Anheuser-Busch plants. They've lost their almond plants. They've lost their tomato plant. Now they're losing dairy. That's all their
staples,
farming.
yep.
That's everything. Gone, 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 gone. And who's going to bail out California? Because you just hear death spiral. This is one community that's going to go into a death spiral. And Gavin Newsom is more worried about running for president in 2028 and
Gross.
talking about Donald Trump than taking care of his own state. He has not.
He could deregulate and make them want to stay.
Absolutely.
He could give them incentives to stay.
Absolutely, but
he
he
could do
won't.
anything he wanted.
This is, we're living in a managed decline of America.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't, why do I call myself America First? Why do I believe in supporting what Donald Trump is doing? Because he says America First. This is not America First. Or I should say Gavin Newsom isn't America First. But
it's not just Gavin Newsom. This is years in the making. That California has been on this weird whatever to regulate the crap out of everything. They have their own special California whatevers that your packaging has to be a certain way and this has to be a certain way.
And they also knew that they would drive the regulation, the auto industry, because the most cars that are built that are sold in America are to California. So if California says, this is our emissions standards, so your car has to have this. This is our seatbelt standards, so your car has to have this. All of that, then every car had to go according to California. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sold in California. And California knew they had that power. They don't have that power anymore. Because their managed decline is no longer managed. It is death spiraling.
Yep.
Death spiraling. Pacific Palisades, has any of that building gone back? Have they built back in Palisades now? Nope. Guess what? Look it up. See what's happening. Those properties are, because nobody can get their codes, their write-offs to be able to rebuild. They've gotten so frustrated, they're just selling off that land. Yeah.
To who?
To who is a good question. Same thing with Lahaina, wanting to sell off the land. Don't even tell me that these are things by accident.
It's not even close.
I won't wear a tinfoil hat because there's way too much.
It's not a conspiracy.
No,
it's just reality.
Way too much truth.
That's the thing, is like all this stuff that everyone's like, oh, conspiracy. Well, it's actually just reality. And I think you're too much of a chicken shit to realize it.
And they keep so much from you so that you don't know that this stuff is happening. Have you been told? Have you seen what's happening in California? That's why I'm starting out 2026 with sound the alarm. Because this is happening there. And now we have a communist as mayor in New York City.
Yeah.
We're going to do, I'm going to do a little thing on him so that you can hear a couple things, but we're not going to get in there. That's another one.
Yeah. It's a hot mess express.
We're in a world of hurt, telling you.
Services get cut, infrastructure crumbles, remaining businesses leave. The Lemoore plant employed 368 workers directly, according to WARN notices. Another 268 employees were laid off on January 9th, 2025. An additional 100 employees face layoffs by December 30th, 2026. Truckers who hauled milk and cheese, contractors who maintained equipment, vendors who supplied materials, all those jobs disappear too. The shipping nightmare is already playing out. California dairy farmers lose their largest customer. The Lemoore facilities processed 14 million pounds of milk daily from local farms. When the East plant closes, that's 7 million pounds daily that farmers must sell elsewhere or dump. Texas dairy farmers gain a $1 billion customer. California dairy farmers lose everything. The two Lemoore plants together consumed massive amounts of water and energy. They paid substantial property taxes and utility bills. When the East plant closes, those costs don't vanish. They get redistributed to remaining customers and taxpayers. The city faces budget shortfalls. Utility rates spike. Services get cut. Former employee Dave Costa spelled it out. This is going to devastate the community of Lemoore. Not getting all these taxes that have been coming in over the years because of this plant, it's going to put a hurt on the city big time. The human cost of this is staggering. When the highest paying factory job in the valley disappears, 368 families lose income. Costa said workers who spent 25 years building careers suddenly face retirement with nothing. You work so hard all those years for your retirement, and then all of a sudden they shut it down. These are skilled workers who know cheese production, who understand the specialized equipment, who have decades of institutional knowledge. Where do they go? What other factory in Lemoore pays those wages? Even the legal...
Now let's bring this back locally, Miranda. That's a 115-year-old plant.
I was thinking the same
thing. That's never going to shut. That's never going to close down. John Deere, it's never going to close down.
How many times have we talked about that?
We're going to put up a new school.
Tax us into oblivion.
We'll put up a new maintenance shop for $14 million in our little
how much
town
was the school?
Of 6,500 people.
And how much was the school?
40 million, I think. 40 million. So,
and they're putting a new bridge in down at Bjornson. See that? That's the newest one that the taxpayers have to pay.
So, what happens? What happens when John Deere shuts down? Oh, that's never gonna happen.
Well, if anybody
I'll bet you
knows
Leprino
anything,
Foods, generations of people
also
thought that it was never gonna happen. Trust me.
It happens.
You as a city should not be putting yourself into such debt at this time in our timeline.
And our city is very much so.
It is so indebted. And what's going to happen? Where they're going to have to pay for that school somehow when you lose industry. And then when you lose industry, you lose people because they have to move elsewhere for their jobs. And then what happens? You have a death spiral.
If you look at the decline of John Deere over the last year
wow,
and a half, they have lost over half of their staff. Over. And that's
well over.
That's including salary and wage. That's not just wage. They are a skeleton crew of wage and salary. They have just enough people to barely keep it running. And the economy for ag is just not there. Nope. The orders aren't there. What they projected wasn't there. And they are so hard in the bottom of the trough. It's not even funny.
With the hope, we can have hope that the
here's the
fuel
thing.
prices have been low enough this year so that there can be some income for those farmers that may feel comfortable enough to order something
or
next
trade
year.
in.
Maybe.
It's crazy to me because there's so much happening with new productions with like the Bismarck and some other things happening. And they put so much into it. They got a whole new addition to the building for laser cutting, and they're in debt for that.
Yep.
And it's just the money's not there. The profitability is not there for that factory.
Nope.
And yes, they've come out of the trough in years past. However, if John Deere as a whole decides that it's not worth it, they will literally shut your factory down and send your fixtures and your line to other factories and part it out, and they will liquidate it all.
I was just gonna say they'll part the lines out to other factories, and you'll find out on Monday.
Yep. Well, you're not necessarily at this one because we're not union. That's the one thing they've got going for them is they're not unionized, so they would have to know ahead of time. However, if you don't believe us, you can go look it up and see how many other John Deere factories are shut down and sent across the border, sent to other factories in the U.S. It happens.
The good thing is Trump has stopped a lot of that moving south.
Yep.
A lot of industry was going to Monterrey, Mexico. But he put such a stiff tariff on that stopped a lot that was going for them to come back again. So that we can thank Trump for.
So yeah, I mean, and that's just our city specific. Other people, depending on where you're watching from, it's important for you to be involved in your local dealings to know what's going on, because this very well could end up very bad for us. And if you're in a similar situation, it could very well end up bad for you. And that's why it's important that you show up to your city's meetings. It's important that you go show up and you vote, and that you get other people to get out there and vote, so that you are not in such a ridiculous place of debt that we are right now.
I think that's why this hit me so hard, is because I know exactly. I've been watching the indebtedness that's happening, and I know how much industry can teeter and disappear. Manufacturing.
It takes one big hit, and that's it. And you don't come back from that.
And then what?
Your citizens will suffer, and they will choose not to suffer, and they will move. And then your city will now be a ghost town.
I'd really like to see a pie chart on...
Reed and I were just talking about this the other day.
On what Valley City would look like with no John Deere. Because
I don't know, man. That would be scary.
That's something that every commissioner should look at and say, hey, are you comfortable with the decisions that you're making, knowing that this could happen in the future? Are you comfortable with saddling your city with these millions upon millions of dollars worth of debt on what? A wing and a prayer. Oh, they're going to build their big thing. If we build a new, the stupidest thing that I see online, if we build a new school, then people are going to really want to move to Valley City so that their kids can be in that new school.
No.
With what job?
Well, not only that, but
stupid. And people, It's
the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my life. And it pisses me off, because if you look at where we are, 30 miles one way, you've got Jamestown with Walmart, Menards, Runnings, a mall. They have vastly more than we do as far as places to work, big corporate places to work.
Cash-wise, Hugo's.
Exactly. And
not raping you on prices with one monopoly
and they have a very large school. They also have the aerospace place as well. So they have lots of factory work. They have Cavendish right there, too.
I was going to say they have Cavendish as well.
So they're a large...
And they have the tarp industry.
Yep. Agricover. They have a huge industry over there for people to work, and their school is there to support that. So
Plus they have the prison.
Well, true. And if you're really looking for a place to go, you'd go 30 more miles that way and put your kid in school there and call it a day. And then you've got an hour the other way with Fargo and way more stuff going on there. Multiple different giant schools.
But that's why they say we need to offer this new, big, beautiful school to draw people here.
It's not true.
To work where?
It's so they can go work at John Deere, who's not hiring.
And when we have, and how does it get passed? When the largest employer for Valley City, which is whom?
John Deere.
Open Door.
Oh, true, Open Door. You're right.
And most of their people, 450, 500 people, are working, are renters and out, lower people that don't have to worry about taxes, home taxes, mill levies, etc. Internally, and I'll say allegedly, allegedly, they are promoting from the inside, hey, if all of you go as a voting block, you make a difference. Go vote, go vote, go vote, vote this in, vote this in. This is going to be good. You can do this. You can do this. Vote this in.
A place of work telling people how they should vote.
Exactly. And that amount of
that's not biased
people,
at all.
No, that amount of people can definitely move the meter.
That's how we lost
in a small town like this.
And that's part of why. So, yes, we lost the vote. However, I would rather lose in a vote than not have a vote at all. Because we didn't even get a vote on the new bus garage.
No.
We got no vote, and they just decided $14.5 million or however much it was.
No, not bus, maintenance.
Maintenance. But it's for their bus line so they can do maintenance there. So they can do their buses and all the other crap that they have to do maintenance on. It's a maintenance shed. So, and what pisses me off even more is that it was actually against their own law of after X amount, I think it's like 10 million, it has to be voted on, or was it maybe 9 million? Anyway,
I don't remember.
It was over the amount that it was meant to be voted on by the citizens to spend, and they just did it. They just chose to do it.
They are addicted to spending money.
And then not only that, but now we have to pay for all the other crap because of the contaminated soil that they managed to fumble the ball on that, moving it to places out of town, but not putting the proper precautions in place for it not to go downstream, etc. And then we had a giant summer storm, and it all washed downstream into the town. Oh, but we shouldn't talk about that.
No.
And we won't even get into the one south of town that they also did very similar things to. So then we have to pay the money for them to move it to the right places with the right processes because they just decided we'll do it however the hell we want the first time. It's all a shit show, and it sucks because there's not much that you can do. Thankfully, we have a huge city warrior on our side, Lance Peterson. If you're out there, thank you for everything you do, and I hope every community has a Lance, honestly.
Even
I really
with
do.
2 broken elbows.
Oh my goodness.
We better start it again.
Yes, we're getting long-winded trying to get everything back into the one video here. All right, let's finish this up, and oh gosh.
Yeah.
History tells the story. Leprino faced a $100 million class action lawsuit in 2017 over wage and hour violations. They won after a 4-week jury trial in 2023, but employees appealed and won a $3.5 million settlement in 2024. Before that, in 2011, Leprino paid $550,000 in back wages to 253 workers of Black, Latino, and Asian descent who were rejected for positions. The company has faced employee-related legal scrutiny for over 2 decades. Texas offers a clean slate. Here is the really scary part. Food processing doesn't just employ workers, it anchors entire regional economies. Dairy farmers need processors within trucking distance. Milk spoils. You cannot ship it across the country. When Leprino closes, Central Valley dairy farmers lose their primary customer. Those farms face closure too. Then the feed suppliers, the veterinarians, the equipment dealers, the truckers, everyone in the dairy supply chain collapses. The irony is California produces more milk than almost any state. The Central Valley is perfect for dairy. Water, land, climate, everything ideal. But the state cannot keep the processing facilities that turn milk into cheese. We are looking at farmers producing milk with nowhere to sell it. Consumers buying cheese made in Texas and shipped 1,500 miles, and a state that pretends everything is fine. Leprino Foods still operates their Lemoore West plant and Tracy facility for now. They keep saying California operations continue, but actions speak louder than words. They opened a $1 billion Texas facility in January 2025. They are closing their 115-year-old California plant. They announced layoffs, giving workers barely a year to find new jobs. How long before they decide the other California facilities are not worth it either? The Lubbock facility is staggering in scope. 850,000 square feet on 260 acres. It processes over 500,000 gallons of milk daily from 200 trucks. The plant produces 1.5 million pounds of mozzarella cheese per day when fully operational. The facility cost $1 billion to build. It employs 600 workers. Texas officials project $10.6 billion in economic impact over 10 years. Lubbock County Judge Curtis Parrish said Leprino and Lubbock fit perfectly. Texas welcomed them with open arms. When Leprino announced the closure, the company released a carefully worded statement. This decision is influenced by several factors, including the facility's age, anticipated capital requirements to make improvements to the facility and add or replace equipment and systems, high operating costs in California, the long-term milk supply outlook, and the increased capacity due to the opening of our Lubbock, Texas facility. High operating costs in California. That is the phrase that matters. Everything else is corporate speak. Mayor Patricia Matthews expressed hope about future opportunities for the facility, despite admitting the closure was
we don't go super long. She'll put a link in the description so that you can watch the rest of this. But I didn't want us to go super much longer because you've gotten the general gist of the whole thing. So the world's largest mozzarella cheese plant is now leaving Central Valley in California. Another massive plant gone.
But here's the thing, though. Yes, it's gone from California, but they are building what sounds like a larger plant in Texas.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I don't think all hope is lost and that we should be too concerned because Texas is large enough to take over California's business, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
But I'm looking at, Central Valley. If you study Central Valley, so much of our food comes from there. And if one by one these processing plants are picked off, then the reason that we get so much food from there is because that's the best climate for that food.
No one's saying it can't be grown there.
But who's going to want to stay there and grow? So I am afraid we're going to have to be getting that stuff from South America because we're no longer going to be growing it here in United States.
But that's the thing, though. If they're still purchasing, so if the processing plants are moving to Texas or wherever they are going to, have less regulation, it doesn't matter where the processing plant is because they're still going to pay for the product. It can still be grown in Central Valley, and those places will still be generating that money to that community.
How many farmers are going to want to stay in Central Valley is what I'm saying. And if we're going to have to get, for instance, tomatoes, what if we end up having to get tomatoes from Brazil?
Grow your own.
Then exactly.
That's all I'm saying. Everybody here can grow a garden. Anyone in the United States can grow a garden. Yeah. For real. Suck it up and grow your own. That's what we do. You grow your own. If prices get out of control, guess what? Stop buying it. Grow it yourself. They'll get the hint, won't they? They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
At some point, the American people will say, I'm not doing it anymore.
You still have your apron on. What were you doing?
Yeah.
What were you doing today?
I made my my soup stock my first time by myself. So I've got
soup stock instead of buying it.
Yeah, because the stuff you get in the store is devoid of all nutrients. It
so
gives you
had
nothing.
A turkey from Christmas in the freezer. Yep. You had 2 chickens.
I think I had more than 2 chickens because when I went through, I think I had probably close to 4 chicken carcasses.
And then she keeps all of her onion bits.
Onion, garlic. I put some zucchini ends in there.
Yep.
All the goods.
Any extras for me, I do a lot of green peppers.
Yep.
So a lot of green pepper bits as well. And then she was able to, all the things that normal people or regular people throw away, it
just
gets
put in
thrown in the freezer.
I had 2-gallon baggies in the freezer, plus my turkey that was frozen, the carcass was frozen in a tote outside, so...
And then she puts it in the big
roaster
for 12 hours.
I'll put a picture in here. I've got pictures. I can put pictures in.
And then how many quarts did you
11
get?
quarts.
11 quarts.
Full quarts.
Imagine how much you saved. Not to mention the goodness that you get to have in your body.
One of those is equal to one that you would buy from the store. And I think from the store they're probably in the $5-6 range now.
And
that the good stuff.
That was just done from scraps that people throw.
Yep. It's your animal bones, because you can do it with any bones. You can go down to the meat market and ask for chicken scraps, and they'll give it to you. You want the trimmings and the bones from your chickens? Okay, here you go. You pay cheap prices because they're gonna chuck them anyway.
Yep.
And they bag them up, send them home with you, and then you can buy. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
That's how people can make their own tallow as well.
Yeah, and you don't have to do scraps of onions. If you want to, you can just go to the store, buy some onions, buy some celery, buy some whatever you want to put in it, chop it up, throw it in a roaster with water. Because that's the other nice thing too, is you literally just put meat, veggies, and water together with some seasonings, let it roast overnight, 12 hours or so.
And you have such
and boom,
beautiful
you skim
broth.
all the stuff out of it and you're done. That's it. You can it up and you're done with it. It's simple, it's cheap, it's good for you, and it's one more thing that you can do at home to have shelf-stable stuff.
Yep.
And that's truly where we're heading, is you need to have things at your home that you have made that you are no longer buying at the store. You can can your tomatoes, you can can your broth, you can can full meals, you can can so much. You can find pretty cheap books on Amazon that teach you the ins and outs of canning. We're what you would consider rebel canners, because we water bath everything. I mean, oh boy, you're not supposed to water bath meat or anything from meat, but guess what? We do. People are botulism this, botulism that. Well, sure, but how did my grandma Alice, great grandma Alice,
how did my mom?
How did they can before pressure canner was a thing? They had shelf stable things that they ate, that their families ate, and they didn't croak because they water bathed it.
I'm still here.
I'm still here. So it's super possible, and it's not scary, because the pressure canner is the scary part, because you see them exploding in your kitchens. So just water bath.
Those carrots and parsnips that were in the seafood chowder for Christmas Eve.
Canned.
They were canned 2 years ago. We're still and water bathed.
Yeah.
And I'm still here.
I have carrots that we canned a year ago that I still use, that are nice and crisp still. And I water bath them. I have pears I've water bathed. I have all kinds of crap that I've water bathed, and all of it's fine. And it's so nice to have your own place to go shopping in your own house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're getting to, is like, you're gonna have to start growing your own stuff and preserving your own stuff. Yep. And we will no longer subscribe to having to pay these outrageous prices because people want to mismanage the industry of farming that we have here. It could be so beautiful, and it could flourish so well, and we choose to abuse it and to regulate the crap out of it and to cause it to not actually be able to function.
Yeah.
So until people pull their heads out of their asses, we're screwed, and there's nothing we can do about it. So you can grow a garden.
On that note,
that's my word of advice for this year. Grow
a
garden.
See what God has to say?
Yes, I will. Probably not saying pull your head out of your ass, but
I was gonna say it's probably gonna say Miranda.
All right, first one of the year, still the same Bible. All right, we are in Psalms. All right. Oh, I didn't point to a page. I gotta point to a page. Okay, we are in Psalm 88, verse 15. It says, "Ever since I was young, I have suffered and been near death. I am worn out from the burden of your punishments." I'm worn out from the burden of their punishments too. I'm over it.
So many of the Californians are.
I think.
Pray for California.
I think so. Pray for California, especially after the fires that they endured, and now they're enduring this.
Yep.
And California is a vast state.
Yes, it is.
But everyone feels it. Everyone feels it. And I think it's important to just pray for our nation. That's one of the things that I'm really making sure that I do every day. As I do my Bible studies and as I do my daily prayers, praying for the situation at hand is one that I have written on there. And I think everybody should be praying for it. Not for anything specific, just in prayer about it.
And pray that the Father leads our nation.
Yeah.
That we are one nation under God, and that we rise up and call ourselves a Christian nation.
Yeah.
So
I think my piece of advice, and I mean, if you don't agree, that's fine, but where I'm at right now in the new year is I am super hands off with a lot. I think it's time for people to just let it be. We need to focus on family, focus on community, and let the idiots be idiots. Because we're just going to drive ourselves mad.
And yeah, for me, because I'm in a different place than you, none of it drives me mad. None of it causes anxiety in me. It is a ginormous puzzle for me. And I get excited when I spot a puzzle piece before other people do, and I put it together like this whole Cuba thing. It's like they're projecting. They're projecting Cuba. We're going to start hearing about Cuba. Something's going on with Cuba. And I thought, am I crazy? And I told 2 people about it. Heather, and because she's in China, and and my son, because my son is just my go-to guy about all that stuff.
Boy.
Yep. And I said, I think there's something going on with Cuba, and they're going to start pushing Cuba. And I was right. I was right because I've been watching it. So we better wrap this up.
We'll leave you with that, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.